Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game.
Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors in ongoing talks as new team shows interest. Jonathan Kuminga's future with the Golden State Warriors has become one of the hottest topics in the Bay Area this offseason, and for good reason. Drafted in 2021, the 22-year-old forward has shown flashes of brilliance but hasn't quite secured a permanent starting role with the Warriors. While he stepped up during key stretches last season due to injuries in the roster, head coach Steve Kerr chose to sit Kuminga for several playoff games against the Houston Rockets. However, Kuminga made a strong impression in the second-round series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, coming off the bench and dropping 30 points in Game 3, a performance that turned heads around the league. Since the off-season began, trade rumors have swirled around Kuminga, with the Sacramento Kings among the first to express serious interest. But the Warriors weren't ready to let go. They turned down Sacramento's offer, reportedly because it didn't include a first-round pick, and instead continued contract talks with Kuminga's camp during the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. Warriors weighing extension amid $25 million salary expectations. According to the Stein line, Kuminga's agent, Aaron Turner, has held numerous discussions with Warriors executives, aiming to secure either a short or long-term extension. Sources say Kuminga is seeking a deal worth at least $25 million per year, a number that has sparked significant buzz around the league. The Warriors are hesitant to commit to a long-term contract at that price, Stein reported. However, they're also exploring potential sign-and-trade scenarios that could yield a first-round pick in return. Phoenix Suns, a new contender, enters the mix. One team now quietly emerging as a possible destination? The Phoenix Suns. Fresh off parting ways with Bradley Beal and freeing up significant cap space, the Suns have re-entered the player market, and they've got their eyes on Kuminga. According to the Stein line, Phoenix has reached out to both Kuminga's representatives and the Warriors to explore a possible deal. The Suns have long admired Kuminga's talent and athleticism, Stein added. Adding him to the roster would bring a new level of energy and versatility to their frontcourt. But making a trade work won't be easy. Phoenix may lack the draft capital or trade assets Golden State is reportedly looking for. As Stein noted, while the Suns have shown interest, they don't appear to have the type of assets, either in draft picks or players, that the Warriors would require in a potential deal for Kuminga. Interestingly, Kuminga's name also surfaced during trade conversations between the two teams last season, when Golden State explored a possible reunion with Kevin Durant. A market in flux, salary cap pressures, and strategic delays. As the off-season continues, Jonathan Kuminga's situation remains unresolved, shaped by complex financial realities and shifting team priorities across the league. Contract talks and salary expectations. Kuminga and his camp are reportedly seeking a contract worth at least $25 million per year. While the Warriors acknowledge his upside, they're hesitant to commit to such a figure under the current salary cap structure. The new collective bargaining agreement has tightened financial flexibility for high-spending teams, and committing to a large extension now could restrict Golden State's ability to make other roster moves. This financial tension has led to a strategic pause. The Warriors are open to the idea of a short-term extension or even a potential sign-and-trade deal, but only if it brings back meaningful assets, most notably a first-round pick. Sources indicate that the franchise may revisit these discussions closer to the December trade window, when more options and cap flexibility become available. The Suns' interest and challenges. The Phoenix Suns have emerged as one of the few teams actively exploring a potential deal for Kuminga. After parting ways with Bradley Beal, the Suns freed up salary room and have shown consistent interest in Kuminga's athleticism and two-way potential. However, Phoenix lacks the trade assets Golden State is reportedly seeking. Without viable first-round picks or appealing players under contract, the Suns would likely need a third team involved to facilitate a competitive offer. Although there have been exploratory talks, no agreement appears close at this stage. Other teams in the mix. The Sacramento Kings previously made an offer but failed to include the first-round compensation Golden State was targeting. The Detroit Pistons and Chicago Bulls were also linked to Kuminga in early discussions, but both situations have since cooled. Chicago was seen as a preferred destination by Kuminga's camp, potentially envisioning a pairing with Josh Giddey, but the Bulls' lack of roster flexibility has made that scenario unlikely. The Miami Heat were mentioned in early rumors as well, but they too lack the necessary cap space and assets to make a serious push. What comes next? Kuminga's contract situation is shaping up to be one of the more influential subplots of the NBA offseason. His case reflects broader changes in how teams manage young talent under the new salary cap environment. For now, both the Warriors and Kuminga appear to be waiting, testing the market, measuring interest, and preparing for a more active phase later in the year. Inside the Warriors organization, opinions are split. Some believe Kuminga is a cornerstone talent worth investing in, while others are cautious, concerned about overpaying before he's fully proven himself. How the team resolves this dilemma will not only impact Kuminga's future, but also shape Golden State's long-term competitive outlook. Warriors fans can finally breathe easy after clarity on Quinton Post's Summer League absence. Now it all makes sense. Unfair to expect Joel Embiid to play a full season again, first things first. The NBA Summer League got off to a frustrating start for many Golden State Warriors fans, and not because of the games themselves. Before the first tip-off, fans were already buzzing with disappointment over the surprising absence of Quinton Post from the California Classic and Las Vegas rosters. For a young big man coming off a promising rookie season, it seemed odd. After all, both Brandon Podziemski and Tracy Jackson-Davis played in last year's Summer League despite having even stronger debut seasons. Add to that the fact that several notable second- and third-year players are suiting up this summer, and the mystery only deepened. But now we have answers. According to a report by Danny Merman of the San Francisco Standard, there's no drama behind Post's absence, just bad luck. The 25-year-old center suffered an ankle injury during the second half of last season, which has kept him sidelined. Rather than competing in Summer League, Post has been rehabbing at the Warriors facility, and even found time to win a chess tournament, where he defeated none other than DeAnthony Melton, his former, and possibly future teammate. While some fans may still be disappointed not to see Post dominating on the Summer League court, knowing the real reason behind his absence brings much-needed perspective. Instead of frustration, there's now cautious optimism, especially considering how Post emerged as a legitimate rotational player for Steve Kerr late last season. He quietly became the stretch big the Warriors have long needed, finishing the year shooting an impressive 40.8% from deep, the highest mark on the team. His floor spacing and high basketball IQ made a noticeable impact, earning him a solid role heading into year 2. If Golden State doesn't make a move for a veteran center like Al Horford in free agency, Post could very well be competing for a starting spot. Regardless of where he lands in the rotation, his continued development will be crucial. The Warriors will be counting on him to bring more physicality in the paint while continuing to stretch the floor with his elite shooting. In the meantime, Warriors fans have shifted their focus to intriguing young prospects like Alex Tui and Will Richard, second-round picks at No. 52 and 56, as well as Aussie guard Taron Armstrong, who's on a two-way deal and has shown flashes of promise despite limited minutes. The buzz around Quinton Post may be on pause for now, but make no mistake, once healthy, he'll be one of the most fascinating players to watch in the Warriors' rotation next season. With Post on the sidelines, fans and analysts alike have been left speculating about how his absence might affect Golden State's rotation, and more importantly, what his full potential could look like once he's back to full strength. Several team insiders have hinted that the Warriors are optimistic about his recovery and view him as a key piece in their evolving frontcourt, especially as the franchise looks to balance youth development with championship aspirations. Internally, the coaching staff has praised Post's work ethic during rehab. According to sources close to the team, he's been a daily presence at the Chase Center training facility, not only participating in off-court workouts but also engaging in film sessions and tactical planning with assistant coaches. That level of engagement has impressed many inside the organization, reinforcing the belief that Post isn't just a one-season wonder but someone with a mindset and skill set to become a long-term contributor. The absence of Post also shifts more attention onto the Warriors' young Summer League core. Players like Will Richard, a two-way wing known for his defensive versatility, and Alex Tui, a forward with strong international experience from Australia, have taken full advantage of the opportunity to shine. Tui, in particular, has turned heads with his poise and maturity, drawing early comparisons to Joe Ingles for his smart decision-making and reliable outside shot. Meanwhile, the team continues to evaluate the need for veteran reinforcements. Rumors surrounding Al Horford have gained traction in recent days, and while nothing is official yet, signing a seasoned big man could allow Steve Kerr to bring Post along more gradually, protecting his ankle while still utilizing his offensive skill set in strategic minutes. The fans' initial confusion over Post's summer league absence has now evolved into cautious optimism, and even excitement. Social media has been buzzing with highlights from Post's rookie season, with fans revisiting his clutch threes, smooth pick-and-pop game, and surprising ability to defend in space. Some are already penciling him in as a future starter, especially given the uncertainty surrounding Kevin Looney's role and the team's ongoing cap space challenges. In short, Quinton Post's absence may have sparked concern at first, but now, it's simply building anticipation. Once he returns, fully healthy and battle-tested, Post could be one of the most important X-factors in Golden State's quest to remain competitive in a stacked Western Conference. And if his late-season performance was any indication, the Warriors may have quietly found a gem, one who's ready to make serious noise in year 2. Warriors extend a lifeline for Kuminga. Could a sign-and-trade for Dillon Brooks be the perfect solution? Nearly 3 weeks into NBA free agency, the future of Jonathan Kuminga remains uncertain. The 22-year-old restricted free agent is hoping for a lucrative new deal, while Warriors head coach Steve Kerr has been candid about his doubts regarding Kuminga's long-term fit alongside the team's aging core. But just when things seem to stall, a lifeline has emerged, and it might open the door to a sign-and-trade that could benefit both Golden State and the Phoenix Suns. The Suns have been aggressive this offseason, headlined by their blockbuster trade sending Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets in exchange for a package centered around Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green. Now, Phoenix is expected to start a lineup featuring Brooks and Green alongside All-Star Devin Booker. But according to the Stein Line's Jake Fisher, Phoenix may not be done retooling, and Kuminga is now firmly on their radar. Sources say the Suns are the latest team to show exploratory interest in a trade for Kuminga, though pulling it off would be challenging. With Fisher reporting that Kuminga is seeking a deal in the range of $25 million per year, the Warriors now have a rare opportunity. They can counter Phoenix's interest with a sign-and-trade proposal that sends Kuminga to the Suns in exchange for Dillon Brooks. At first glance, it may seem unlikely, but it just might be the timely solution both teams need. Why this deal could work for everyone. For Phoenix, the appeal is clear. Kuminga brings youth, athleticism, and explosive scoring, a dynamic wing who could thrive playing off Booker and Green. His upside is undeniable, and in the fast-paced West, that kind of firepower could prove critical. But the Warriors have leverage too. If Phoenix makes a formal offer for Kuminga, Golden State can reasonably insist that any deal must match salaries. And the only player on the Suns' books close to Kuminga's asking price is, coincidentally, Dillon Brooks, who is set to earn $21.1 million in 2025-26. While some might argue that Kuminga has the higher ceiling, Brooks could be the better fit for Golden State, and that's what matters most at this stage in the franchise's championship window. Brooks is one of the NBA's premier 3-and-D wings, known for his durability, defensive grit, and fiery competitiveness. He's coming off his best shooting season yet, averaging 2.5 made threes per game while hitting nearly 40% from beyond the arc. In many ways, Brooks is exactly the kind of player the Warriors have been missing since Klay Thompson's decline, a tenacious perimeter defender who can knock down shots and hold his own against elite wings. He'd slide naturally alongside Draymond Green and could bring much-needed toughness to a roster that struggled defensively in recent years. A deal with complications, but real potential. There are hurdles, of course. Because Brooks was recently traded, league rules prevent him from being moved again in combination with other players until September 6th. That, combined with the Warriors' ongoing efforts to avoid luxury tax penalties and preserve room for a potential signing of veteran big man Al Horford, makes this a delicate negotiation. But if the Warriors are serious about finding the right replacement for Kuminga, someone who brings immediate impact without sacrificing team chemistry, Brooks might be the most realistic option on the table. For Phoenix, parting with Brooks wouldn't be easy. His defense is a crucial safety net for Booker and Green, especially after losing Durant's length and versatility. But the chance to acquire a rising star like Kuminga, with years of potential ahead, could outweigh the cost. Bottom line. This isn't just a convenient trade idea. It's a timely opportunity that could solve two major roster questions at once. Golden State needs someone who can contribute now, fit seamlessly with the vets, and defend at a high level. Phoenix needs youth, scoring, and a forward-looking core that can support Booker long-term. If both sides can navigate the financial and timing constraints, a Kuminga for Brooks sign-and-trade might go from unlikely to inevitable. And for the Warriors, it could be the bold, strategic move that keeps them in the hunt, without losing control of their future. Growing league interest and what it means for Golden State. Golden State's situation with Kuminga has quietly drawn attention across the league. Several front offices are monitoring his availability, recognizing that he's more than just a young, athletic wing. He's a player with untapped star potential who could thrive in a system that gives him more offensive freedom. Reports suggest that the Sacramento Kings, Charlotte Hornets, and even the Orlando Magic have all expressed interest in recent weeks. But the Suns stand out because they have both the motivation and the assets to make a sign-and-trade viable, assuming both teams are willing to compromise. Warriors fans are understandably divided. Many see Kuminga as a cornerstone of the franchise's future, the one young player who's shown the ability to carry the torch after Steph Curry. But others argue that he hasn't yet proven he can consistently perform in high-leverage moments, and that his limited role under Steve Kerr reflects deeper concerns about his fit within a motion-heavy, veteran-led system. For the Warriors front office, this becomes a pivotal decision. Do they continue investing in Kuminga's growth, hoping he evolves into a consistent two-way star? Or do they capitalize on his current market value to bring in a battle-tested role player who complements the core and helps them compete now? Kerr's comments raise eyebrows. Steve Kerr's recent public comments haven't exactly helped settle things. When asked about Kuminga's future role, Kerr said, "We love what JK brings to the table, but with the way our roster is built, it's tough to promise big minutes when you've got guys like Draymond, Wiggins, and potentially a veteran coming in. We'll have to see how it all shakes out." That level of uncertainty has only fueled speculation that Golden State is seriously considering moving Kuminga if the right deal materializes. The fanbase has responded with a mix of anxiety and realism. Social media platforms are flooded with debates. Why would we give up on a 22-year-old with that kind of upside? Versus we're trying to win now. Brooks gives us defense, shooting, and playoff toughness. Local Bay Area radio shows have also weighed in, with several analysts pointing out that Kuminga's development timeline may not align with the championship window that remains for Curry and Green. Financial realities and the Horford factor. Another key angle in all this is financial flexibility. The Warriors are navigating a tight cap situation, and every contract they sign this offseason needs to be calculated, not just from a talent perspective, but in terms of how it affects the books in 2025 and beyond. That's why the possibility of acquiring Al Horford looms so large. The 38-year-old big man is reportedly weighing offers from both Golden State and Boston, and his decision could impact whether the Warriors can afford to keep Kuminga or pivot to someone like Brooks. If the Warriors land Horford, the case for trading Kuminga becomes even stronger. Horford provides floor spacing, veteran leadership, and interior defense, all things Kuminga still lacks. Adding Brooks on the wing alongside Horford in the front court could give the Warriors a much more balanced and playoff-ready roster. What's next? League insiders believe that if the Suns decide to make a formal offer for Kuminga, the Warriors could respond within days. Both sides will need to navigate the timing restrictions of Brooks' trade clause and the financial mechanics of a sign-and-trade, but the interest is real and mutual. This isn't just about numbers or contracts anymore. It's about identity. The Warriors are trying to evolve while staying competitive. The Suns are reloading for a deep playoff run. And both teams may have just what the other needs to take the next step. As one Western Conference executive told The Athletic, Kuminga's ceiling is higher. Brooks is a better win-now piece. If both sides are honest about where they are, this deal makes too much sense to ignore. Expect this storyline to pick up steam as we approach late July, especially if no deal is struck with Kuminga soon. The longer the standoff lasts, the more likely it is that this proposed sign-and-trade becomes not just a rumor, but a real possibility. Stephen Curry breaks his silence on the Warriors' quiet off-season, and why he thinks it might be an advantage. While the rest of the Western Conference has been buzzing with blockbuster trades and bold moves, the Golden State Warriors have taken a noticeably quieter approach this off-season. No splashy signings. No headline-grabbing trades. Just patience. At a glance, it's easy to question the silence. Rumors around Al Horford have been floating for weeks without resolution. Jonathan Kuminga's situation remains murky. Key rotation players like Gary Payton II and DeAnthony Melton haven't been re-signed. And with veteran presence like Kevin Looney gone, the roster feels thinner than it did just a few months ago. Meanwhile, teams like the Nuggets and Rockets have gone all in, bolstering their lineups with high-impact additions. In contrast, the Warriors seem to be betting on something different: internal growth, health, and a return to fundamentals. Yet through all the uncertainty, One voice remains steady, Stephen Curry's. And he's not hitting the panic button. In fact, he sees opportunity in the stillness. Right now, everyone's using this longer than usual offseason to reset, mentally and physically, Curry told NBC. Our last 35 games and that playoff run felt like a full-on sprint. After a grueling season capped by a hard-fought playoff exit at the hands of the Timberwolves, made tougher by Curry's own injury, he sees this extended break not as a setback, but as a chance to regroup and recharge. And he's far from discouraged. Steph's confidence isn't just hope, it's history. Curry isn't hoping for a miracle. He's leaning on experience. For a decade, the Warriors have proved they can rise when others count them out. He believes that same formula still holds true. We know how to win. We know how to play. The pieces fit, he said. Now it's about committing to the work and embracing the challenge of climbing that mountain again. Even without a flashy roster overhaul, Curry is betting on chemistry, and on the late-season spark that came after the team brought in Jimmy Butler III. That move changed the tone, and the team responded. They surged late in the year, clinched a playoff spot, and if not for his injury, might have gone further. It's that version of the Warriors that Curry believes in. The one that clicked when it mattered. The one that doesn't need to reinvent itself to be dangerous again. The Dynasty's window isn't closed, it's just narrower. Curry knows time is no longer on his side. He's 37. Draymond isn't getting younger. Klay Thompson is gone. The dynasty isn't over, but it's evolved, and that means margins are thinner, expectations sharper. Still, Curry remains convinced that the core still has something left to give. And that belief could be the most powerful weapon the Warriors have. We'll talk X's and O's and how this group needs to play to win. That'll evolve through camp and over the course of the season, he said. It's a message to the fan base, and maybe to the front office. Don't mistake quiet for complacency. This team still has fire. And more importantly, it still has belief. Can patience pay off in a loaded Western Conference? Sure, questions remain. Can this roster compete with the size and speed of the Nuggets? Can they match the explosiveness of a healthy Suns or the defensive depth of the Timberwolves? The answers will come in time. But Curry's not worried about keeping up with the noise. He's focused on getting this group ready, mentally tough, physically rested, and locked in from day one. If Golden State makes a few smart moves before the season starts, tightening the bench, locking in key contributors, this approach might just look brilliant in hindsight. Because in a league obsessed with change, sometimes the boldest move is staying the course, and trusting the players who've already climbed the mountain to do it one more time. Around the league, reactions are mixed, but the Warriors aren't worried. The NBA media cycle hasn't been kind to Golden State lately. Analysts across networks have raised concerns about the team's quiet approach. ESPN's off-season grades labeled the Warriors as undecided, citing their lack of urgency in the wake of the Western Conference arms race. Bleacher Report speculated that the team's patience could cost them a real shot at one last title run with Curry. And yet, despite the growing chorus of doubt, the Warriors are staying grounded. Behind the scenes, sources suggest that the front office is far from asleep. They've been exploring trade possibilities, particularly around veteran forwards and backcourt depth. The buzz around Al Horford remains real, though complicated by Boston's desire to retain leadership and playoff experience. League insiders say the Warriors are also keeping a close eye on potential mid-season buyout candidates, including names like Joe Harris and Otto Porter Jr., as contingency plans to boost wing depth without compromising future assets. But the message from Curry, and echoed by the coaching staff, is clear: this isn't about panic. It's about timing. We're not chasing headlines, one team source said. We're building something that can sustain across an 82-game season and into a deep playoff run. That means health. That means chemistry. That means leadership. Kuminga's role, the X factor that could define the season. One of the biggest lingering questions is the future of Jonathan Kuminga. As Curry emphasized the importance of internal growth, many eyes turn to the 22-year-old forward. His athleticism is undeniable, and his flashes of two-way brilliance last season gave fans and scouts a reason to believe he could be the next face of the franchise. But inconsistency and uncertainty around his fit with head coach Steve Kerr's system has clouded his trajectory. The front office has reportedly fielded calls on Kuminga, but so far, they haven't budged. That may not be a lack of action, but rather a signal of belief. If JK takes that leap this season, one assistant coach said, everything changes. We're a different team. A better one. Whether the Warriors fully commit to Kuminga or pivot by the trade deadline remains to be seen. But his development could be the single biggest swing factor for Golden State's season. The Butler effect. Can his leadership push the core higher? The late-season addition of Jimmy Butler III may have flown under the radar for most of the league, but within the Warriors' locker room, it's already had ripple effects. Butler, known for his no-nonsense leadership and playoff intensity, has reportedly embraced a mentor role alongside Curry and Draymond Green. His arrival has added both competitive edge and off-court discipline, two traits that could prove crucial in guiding younger players like Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski. During team workouts this offseason, Butler has already been vocal about raising standards and pushing pace, especially on the defensive end. According to multiple reports, Curry has welcomed that energy, seeing it as exactly what the team needs to maximize its current window. What's at stake this season? With the Dynasty years slowly fading in the rearview mirror, this season feels pivotal. It's not just about chasing another title, it's about proving that the Warriors can evolve without compromising their identity. If the gamble on continuity pays off, it could redefine how contending teams approach roster building in an increasingly reactionary league. If it doesn't, the franchise may be forced into tough decisions come February, especially regarding younger assets and the structure of their post-Curry future. For now though, Stephen Curry is focused on what he can control: preparation, culture, and keeping the belief alive. We've been counted out before, he said. And every time, we find a way. That hasn't changed.